Joining us on the Heaster Automotive Group hotline from WFNZ in Charlotte, he is Walker Mehl. Walker, what up, man?
What's going on, man? How are you doing?
You're not in the beard game. Everybody's got the beard game these days. What's up?
I can't grow a beard, Joe. Not enough testosterone, man. I've tried. The best I can do is a trash stash. But just shave it. Like, look, the only other thing I can really grow is an Andrew Luck neck beard, and nobody wants to see that. No one wanted to see it with Andrew Luck. I can't do it like Bryce Young can.
Look, I understand it's minicamp. I understand it's the middle of June and we're just desperate for some football feelings, but I think it's hysterical that Bryce Young showed up to camp with a beard, and this somehow means that this is a more mature Bryce. Bearded Bryce is going to unlock some different level. It's just, we're so thirsty for something positive in Pantherland that we are reading into the man having a beard.
Well, look, there's a couple things going on here. You know, this is a man that was made fun of because he's the same height, except maybe even shorter than Mina Kimes. So anything that can help you look more manly and have the bravado, it helps you. Plus, you're forgetting the bearded Sam Darnold boost effect from the beard. Edgy Sam was a thing for like 3 games, but it was a thing. Right. And I think we were trying to steal some of that mojo. Then he shaved it. The beard is gone. And
he shaved the beard?
Yeah, it's gone.
Oh man. Well,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
You know, because I thought everything was lining up with, you know, the fun facts about Ohio State winning national championships and having losing seasons and then starting with the Jaguars. Like, this was lined up, Walker. This was all looking like a Super Bowl season. He shows up with a beard. I mean, he's probably going to start listening to Korn now too.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Like, come on, this was all lining up for Super Bowl. I'm gonna have to reassess that. I'm gonna have to reassess it now.
You thought PFT was going to aggregate your original material and then have to add another chapter onto the funny things going on in Carolina bit. I wish it was so. But he shaved it after like 3 days. By the way, it was a short-lived beard.
That is too bad. That is too bad. All right. All kidding aside, it's fairly obvious what the talking points are coming out of this mini camp. It is getting Xavier Legette healthy, hopefully, because I know there was all this video of him walking off and getting treatment, everything else. Adding McMillan, making sure the offensive line group is steady. It just seems like everything is in place to keep the momentum going. I understand from what we saw last year why you have optimism. This is clearly permeating through minicamp right now with the moves that they've made and just Bryce's overall demeanor.
It's worlds different, man. I mean, especially it felt like there was a ton of pressure coming into his second season. Clearly there was. And then he didn't deliver on anything in the first 2 games, just historically bad games from him as a quarterback, the first 2 games of last year. And you could see him just completely dejected, man. Like we can get a little carried away with hey, what's his body language like at the podium? We can read too much into it at times, but it was so overwhelming. And he sounds so different. He looks different with the way that he's having fun out there on the football field. Look, I buy into it. I do. And I'm not usually the type of guy that does that sort of thing, that buys into it. I'm not saying he's going to be an amazing football player now, but it wasn't fun for Bryce for a long time in the NFL. And it makes sense based off all the reporting. You had all these different guys in his ear. This is what you should be doing. No, this is what you should be doing. And while I understand feeling like you found a loophole with being able to spend all the money on all the coaches, there not being a cap in the coaches game. And so that's like a genuinely good idea, in my opinion, with David Tepper. It's just the diversity of thought didn't go well. Everybody has to be on the same page. So with that diversity of thought you wanted to bring in, Bryce wasn't having fun. Now he is. You can tell that everybody's on the same page. It matters. And I think you're kind of seeing the fruits of that in the offseason and even in the stretch that he had last year.
Now, Dave Canales is not exactly a sparkling personality. He is a football robot. He's going to talk in coach speak. That's not a knock. But if Bryce is going to show some personality, I referenced this thing about him not knowing Korn, right? I'll go ahead and I'll pull up the video. This was put out by the Panthers TikTok, and it was basically, what was your first concert? And this is pretty funny, as Bryce Young is too young to know who Korn is, let alone Rush.
That's Korn. No, not what the backwards are. You gotta look that one up. Yeah, you would love Korn. Go home, put them on the car.
Tells me I'm waiting.
Closely followed by Rush. My dad took me out of second grade to take me to a Rush concert. Another great band. All-time Neil Peart, best drummer alive. You should check them out.
I love Neil. What was it?
Neil.
Neil, yeah, my dog Neil.
Canadian band. Yeah, shout out to us.
My dog Neil. Yeah, Neil
my
Peart,
dog.
one of the greatest drummers of all time. My dog. Now, this stuff doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. Like, why would Bryce Young know who Korn is? Why would he know who Rush is? He's a young guy. It's not going to bother me in that regard. But I bring this up. I bring that kind of demeanor, the play on with his teammates. And then you throw in Xavier Legette, who I know Carolina Hurricanes fans got a taste of here a couple of weeks ago when he was in the building and he was chucking the football and he went viral for his clip. And then you bring in Nalo as well, who has another personality that people have been kind of drawn into. Again, I'm trying not to read too much into this, but I would say that this is the first offseason in a long time that the Panthers seem to have some likable dudes with a good vibe. That might be just more, that might be more of an indictment of how things used to be more than it is about what's going on right now. But man, it's actually kind of nice to see a team that looks like it's having fun.
Yeah. It's an indictment of how things used to be, and it's a reflection. It's a reminder, better yet, on how things used to be back in 2015 when we did have all these personalities. That's because
we are coming up on the 10-year, and we're going to get a lot of this as the summer goes on and we start looking back on 2015 and what exactly that team was about with Cam Newton, right? And I know there's all sorts of dynamics at play with the Panthers and Cam and all that kind of stuff, which take away from the fun. But you can't put that back in a box. You can't put what happened in 2015 back in the box. And I think people have been chasing that feeling for so long that when you see a group having some fun again, a little personality, it's easy to get with this team again, regardless of what you've thought about the past.
Look, and the football has to matter. You got to get the wins, all that stuff. The process has to matter too. I think that's been the biggest difference, right? So if we just go from the top down, okay, David Tepper just talked about how he tried to bring in diversity of thought by spending all the money on all the different coaches. It didn't work out. I do genuinely think he learned from that lesson. And he just said, okay, Dan, this is your hire. You get to hire whoever you want. And then that coach, novel concept, that coach gets to hire whoever he wants. And that's what Canales did. He brought a lot of his Tampa Bay guys here, so everybody's on the same page. We keep going over that. In the draft, you see Dan Morgan and free agency. If you marry those two ways to add players to your team, it just feels like they've had a plan this entire time. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you go to Scott Fitterer, I like the idea of dancing on draft day, moving up and down the board all over the place. Didn't seem like there was a plan, though. It's like, all right, that deal seems cool. Pull the trigger. Bang. Let's move up. Let's move back. Let's just get all these talented players, at least we think are talented. Right. And then let's see how it all comes out in the wash. That's not the case here with Dan Morgan. Every move they make after the previous move, it all lines up. It all makes sense. And so now, not only does it seem like there's a real process, you get to the player personality part of it. It does remind you of Cam having fun, TD. It reminds you of Josh Norman, who was your vocal corner leader in 2015. J.C. Horn, your vocal corner leader, who is really stepping up in that role in what you've seen from minicamp so far. There are some similarities. And so you're right. With the anniversary of 2015, it being the 10-year anniversary of them going to the Super Bowl, it is a nice reminder that, we don't have to try too hard. We don't have to go through 10 degrees of separation to make some comparisons, at least personality-wise, to that 2015 team. You can see it, and the vibes are good. The process is good. Hopefully it plays in the regular season that way. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, I felt sorry for you guys in Charlotte, specifically Mac Attack and the crew. You know, when they were watching all the Hurricanes have fun and get into the conference finals and stuff like that. And just like an innocent comment of like a Panthers fan saying, man, I would like to have those feelings again. Speaking, Hornets fans would like to have that feeling, period, right?
Oh my God.
You tend to forget that sports is supposed to be fun. And here we are with the Panthers looking like they're fun again. That being said, they got a running back. Like, everything will work out. Like, what's that look like
Panthers,
right now?
Oh, yeah. The Panthers have a running. If you broke up a little bit. Sorry, Joe. If you don't mind repeating that question.
I was going to say you're kind of breaking up here too. I think the WFNZ Wi-Fi is.
It's not great. It's not great.
Giving you some problems here. You have all that technology in the building, but yet Wi-Fi. Trust me. Trust me, these are things I'm familiar with. No, I think it's look. I guess the question would be, running backs are a very highly replaceable position. I know that's the knock, and I think there's maybe some residuals of the Brooks pick, it not working out, that makes you go, well, clearly you tab this guy to be the guy, and yet he's hurt. So what exactly does that room look like right now? Who emerges? Is it committee? What is that running back position? Because as much as we can talk about wide receiver, as much as we can talk about the offensive line, we clearly understand Dave Canales wants to run the damn ball. So what does that look like?
Yeah, I think it looks really good with Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle. I actually think, especially on early downs. Now, the big thing you're missing with Jonathan Brooks is the weapon out of the backfield. Chuba, while we love his work ethic on the jugs machine, you constantly hear about it. There's a reason that he needs to continue to work on the jugs machine. It's because he doesn't catch the football that well in third down scenarios. And so that's where Jonathan Brooks would come in. And he's more of your home run hitter, got some wiggle to his game. But with Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle, those guys are going to be good. And Chuba last year between the tackles was, going for among the better yards per carry. You look at the analytics liked what Chuba did a lot last year. I thought you got Rico on a really good contract this offseason. So I actually like the running game, Joe. I would like, speaking of diversity here, I would like a running back with a different skill set than what Chuba and Rico have. And I think they have very similar skill sets, which is great if somebody goes down with injury, but you do have the same type of guy. And now defenses don't have to game plan for anything different when Rico comes into the ball game. But they're good running backs, like straight up. But Chuba, I would say, is one of the better runners of the football in all of the NFL. But the reason I have to phrase it that way is because he can't do what McCaffrey does out of the backfield in the passing game. He can't do what some of these other guys, Saquon even, who's more of a rusher, but he's got some pass catching to his game. Chuba doesn't have that as much, but I do like what they can do on early downs especially. And so I feel good about what they have back there.
All right, Walker, before we say goodbye, I did mention the Hornets. We have not talked since we found out they're not getting the overall number one pick. They will be picking 4th after the Mavericks, the Spurs, and the Sixers. What do the Hornets do on the 4th spot?
Oh my God, that was a rough day. That was a rough day. It's the tradition of coming back from commercial break in the top 4, but then immediately seeing your logo revealed. Mark Tatum, the deputy commissioner, an underrated villain of the Hornets franchise, revealing that.
Well, real quick,
what do they do?
Quick. So before we even get, what do they do with the 4th pick? Is it, again, I do not know this mindset because I've never been a Hornets fan. You are clearly a Hornets fan. How is it possible that the Hornets in their history don't get better picks in the lottery? How is that possible?
It's the kind of thing. I am not one that believes the draft lottery is rigged. It is the kind of thing that you would present to make your case that the draft lottery might be rigged. It is that kind of thing. In fact, this exact draft order is the kind of thing you would present as evidence that the envelope is indeed frozen.
Right.
That's
the thing. For those who don't know, it's like, yeah, man, the Mavericks move on from they get Luka out of there. Dallas, what was it? Nico Harrison's getting ripped up and down.
That's right.
And all right, you just got rid of one generational white guy. I know what Dallas needs. They need another generational white.
It's time. It's time. Look, how many of these guys are around here? It's time. We need to do it. How do they not get better picks?
How do they not get better picks? How is this mathematically possible?
It's the sickness. It's a disease. We all suffer from it, and the Hornets are not safe from it. We've only had one number 1 overall pick in the Hornets franchise history. The first iteration and the second iteration. It was LJ. It was grandmama back in the day. Yeah. That's it. I can't answer that question, Joe. I wish I had an answer. They should have had it when they were literally the worst basketball team of all time, finishing 7-59. Right. Nope. Anthony Davis goes to the team that left us. That's right. It's a special kind of pain. It is. I don't know what to do.
So what do they do at the 4th spot? What do they need?
I think they need defense. I would be okay with VJ Edgecombe or Trey Johnson. I think those are the 2 leaders in the clubhouse for me. VJ Edgecombe fits well. Not that you should be drafting for fit. We could do that, but he fits really well. And I think you just need 2-way players. the Hornets do care a lot about character. All of the culture reset stuff that you hear about when a new regime takes over, new ownership, new coaches, they've taken that to heart. Every single move they've made, Joe, it's all been character building. They go after the basketball player that is known for diving for loose balls. It's just what it is. All the defensive players, that's what they've done through free agency. And it's what they did in the draft last year when they drafted Tijon Salon. Who was the guy that fits that mold the best? It's VJ Edgecombe out of Baylor. Now, there are lots of reports. We talked about it today on Locked On Hornets. Con Knipple getting a lot of love, getting lots of love. He could be taken number 4 overall. I would not be surprised at all. Okay. And, you know Con Knipple's game as much as I do. The Hornets seem to like it. A lot of NBA teams seem to like it. And maybe he's the pick. But I think they need shooting. I think they need defense. I just want some flat-out toughness from the next guy. And I think both of those guys have it. That's what I'd value.
Walker, Locked On Hornets podcast as well, WFNZ in Charlotte. All right, man, I appreciate the time as always. We will talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.